Hello guys, welcome back to Fun with Frank. In this video we are looking at the top 10 facts about Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, Netflix's latest true crime drama, has been the talk of the town since its September 21 release. Dahmer was known for pedophilia, cannibalism, and necrophilia in addition to murdering and dismembering 17 people over a 13-year period. With over 918,000 engagements, the series trended multiple times on Twitter. Over the weekend, the show topped the streaming services list for most watched series in multiple countries around the world. Jeffrey Dahmer, the infamous Milwaukee serial killer, murdered 17 young men and practiced cannibalism. Here are the top 10 most shocking facts about the Milwaukee Monster that you should be aware of. Before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon. Number 1. Jeffrey Dahmer was heavily inspired by his father. Born on July 29, 1936, Lionel Dahmer was a talented chemist who worked as a senior research chemist at PPG Industries in Ohio's city of Barberton. He later became the supervisor of the company's analytical chemistry department. Now, why am I telling you all this about Lionel Dahmer, you ask? Well, firstly, he's the father of the infamous American serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. And secondly, you should know that most of Jeff's works were actually taught by Lionel himself. Lionel, despite being a very busy man and a terrible husband to his then wife Joyce Flint, taught Jeffrey how to dissect roadkills like possums, raccoons, and other dead animals. You see, Lionel was at the time working on an experiment that involved drilling a hole in a frog's skull and pouring different liquid items inside its brain to see how the animal reacts. The actual purpose of the experiment was to show that even if an animal's brain is damaged almost entirely, a tiny portion of the brain that remains can keep the animal alive in a vegetative state. Jeffrey learned this at a very early age and became fascinated by animal dissections, their internal organs, and their bones. In fact, Jeffrey reportedly used animal bones to play fiddlesticks and was obsessed with internal organs. Number 2. Jeffrey's first victim was a fancy come true for him. Jeffrey Dahmer, according to his own statements and legal evidence, committed his first murder in his father's house in Ohio. However, the killer later confessed that the murder of Stephen Hicks, an 18-year-old boy who took a ride in Dahmer's car to hitchhike to a concert, was an accident. After killing Hicks, Jeff panicked and hid the body under their house, where he and his dad found the first roadkill. However, Dahmer later cut the body into pieces. He also tried to smash Hicks' bones but could not do it due to the wet interiors of the human skeleton. So he fried the bones in the oven until they became fragile and broke easily. He then scattered the bone dust all over his backyard. According to Jeff, he felt like doing that will keep Hicks, his fancy hero, near him always. Number 3. Jeffrey's DNA Dahmer and his social status in school. Coming to the third interesting thing that you should know about Dahmer is how he earned his beer money while he was in school. You see, Dahmer was a social outcast when it came to his school life and was often ignored by the popular students on campus. However, one of Jeff's school friends who wrote a graphic novel about him titled My Friend Dahmer revealed in his book that Jeffrey became the school clown for doing a Dahmer. So what is that? Well, according to the Urban Dictionary, doing a Dahmer simply meant pulling a practical joke on someone to prank them. In school, Jeffrey often entertained other students by mimicking autistic individuals. The phrase became popular when it was mentioned in Joel Norris's 1992 novel Jeffrey Dahmer. However, when Dahmer was convicted for murders and dismembering of 17 young men, the meaning of doing a Dahmer completely changed. Since then, the phrase has only been associated with his heinous crimes. Number 4. How the racism and negligence of the police contributed to Dahmer's crimes. Jeffrey Dahmer was a white male who lived in late 80s America when racism and colorism was prevalent in society. This is one of the primary reasons that contributed the most to Jeffrey's crimes and murders. Did you know that the police could have prevented at least 5 murders had they listened to a black woman? Number 5. The police found human remains in every utensil in Dahmer's apartment. When police finally arrested Jeffrey Dahmer on July 22, 1991, they discovered human remains in almost every utensil in his apartment. Dahmer was dubbed the Milwaukee Cannibal for a reason. Jeff took out his victims' internal organs, carved the flesh off their bones, and consumed them after killing and dismembering them. According to the serial killer, he ate his victims to feel as if they were a part of him. Number 6. Despite suffering from multiple mental disorders, Dahmer was declared legally sane for his crimes. Dahmer was found to have schizotypal personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and psychotic disorder after his arrest in 1991. He also had splanchnophilia, which is a mental disorder in which a person is aroused by flesh and bones. Number 7. Jeffrey Dahmer helped the police to find the bodies of his victims. After getting arrested, Jeffrey Dahmer actually helped the Milwaukee police discover the dead bodies of his victims that he buried or kept somewhere. In fact, Dahmer confessed that he killed Stephen Hicks, his first victim, even though the police had no idea about it. Number 8. Jeffrey was highly neglected and ignored as a child and teenager. Although Jeffrey Dahmer was not the usual kid in the block, the negligence of his parents contributed to his psyche and personality over the years. He grew up in a disjointed family where his father and mother always prioritized their work and domestic issues over Dahmer's needs. Also, he was an introverted child and kept his thoughts to himself most of the time. However, when he started to realize about his gender disorder during his teenage years, he tried to talk about it with his father only to get ignored. Number 9. The one that got away from Dahmer. On July 22, 1991, Jeffrey brought home Tracy Edwards, a black man from a nearby club, by luring him with money. When Edwards entered Dahmer's apartment, he saw multiple bottles of hydrochloric acid lying around and a weird smell all over the apartment. Dahmer even put a handcuff on one of his hands. That is when he knew that something was wrong with Dahmer and attempted to leave the house. Number 10. Jeffrey Dahmer's brother changed his name and disappeared from public eyes. While many know Jeffrey Dahmer's name from the Dahmer family, his younger brother got little attention over the years. Named David Dahmer, Jeffrey's brother was 6 years younger than him. In fact, it is reported that it was Jeffrey who named his little brother when he was born. So there you have it, some of the most shocking and fascinating facts about Jeffrey Dahmer and his family. Jeffrey was an unusual soul who spiraled in a chaotic lifestyle as a result of a variety of issues, including parenting issues, societal issues, and legal issues. Unlike his parents, he stated that he never intended to kill his victims and simply wanted them to stay with him. Thank you for watching the video.